Cain and Abel were the distraction. While the world was arguing over a murderer and a victim, a third lineage was smuggled onto this planet in order to collapse the Matrix from the inside. You aren't human, you are the seed of Seth, and you're here on a sabotage mission. This is Sethian Gnosticism. It's one of the earliest and most radical forms of Gnostic Christianity, and understanding their cosmology reveals why they believe that most humans are soulless NPCs, why a hidden third race walks among us carrying divine DNA, and why reality itself is an invasion that you're here to resist from within. Oh yeah, and if you're interested in learning more about Gnosticism and other mystery traditions, make sure you hit the link in my bio and request some information because the doors to the inner sanctum are opening for a limited time very soon, so click the link. Let's talk the third race. Genesis mentions Cain and Abel, then briefly notes that Adam and Eve had another son, Seth. Most readers, they skip right past him, but Sethian Gnostics claim that Seth's lineage is the only one that matters because his descendants are the ones that carry the divine spark that Cain and Abel's lines lack. Here's the cosmology. The Demiurge, the ignorant false god who created the material world, made humans as slaves, biological robots designed to worship him and generate the emotional energy that he feeds on. Cain and Abel's descendants are purely material beings, conscious but soulless, animated but not truly alive. Then, something happened that the Demiurge didn't plan for. Sophia, divine wisdom from the realm of light. She intervened and placed fragments of herself, divine sparks, into certain humans. These became Seth's lineage, the pneumatic race, the ones carrying actual divinity trapped in material flesh. You're either of Seth's seed or you're not. This isn't about genealogy but ontology. Some humans contain divine consciousness, others are sophisticated biological machines. The Sethians believe that the split is absolute, and it explains why spiritual teaching reaches some people while others just can't comprehend it no matter how clearly it's explained. But to understand Sethian Gnosticism, we have to talk more about Barbelo. Alright, so at the top of Sethian cosmology sits the invisible and unknowable Father. The first thing that emanates from him is called Barbelo. She's the divine feminine principle, the mother of all, and the first thought of God made manifest. Barbelo is described as perfect, luminous, and the forethought and afterthought of the Father. She's not created, but eternally coexists with him as the first divine expression. From her union with the Father came the eons, the divine beings that populate the Pleroma, which is the realm of fullness and divine light. Now, the Apocryphon of John describes her in layers of titles, saying she's the first power, the glory of Barbelo, the perfect glory in the eons, and the glory of revelation. She's the feminine face of God that patriarchal Christianity later suppressed and preserved only in the Gnostic texts. Now, Sophia, who later falls and accidentally creates the material world, is one of Barbelo's emanations. So the tragedy of material existence traces back through Sophia all the way to Barbelo, but Barbelo herself remains unstained in the Pleroma, eternally perfect, the mother awaiting her children's return. Now that you know about Barbelo, let's talk about the three stems of reality. Sethian texts describe three classes of humans based on their fundamental nature. These aren't races you can see, but ontological categories determining your spiritual capacity and your destiny. The Hylics are purely material. Hylic means matter. These are Cain's descendants, humans without a divine spark operating entirely through biological programming and social conditioning. They're not evil, they're just unconscious. They live, reproduce, die, and dissolve completely. No afterlife because there's no eternal component to survive death. Now the Psychics are ensouled, but not enlightened. Psyche means soul. These are Abel's line, humans with souls capable of moral reasoning and basic spirituality, but still lacking direct access to gnosis. They can achieve heaven through good works and faith, but they can't achieve the highest realm because they don't contain the divine spark that remembers its origin. Now the pneumatics are spirit-filled. Pneuma means spirit or breath. These are Seth's seed, humans carrying divine fragments from Barbelo all the way through Sophia's intervention. They're capable of gnosis, of remembering their true nature and recognizing that they're divine consciousness that are just temporarily trapped in matter. Only pneumatics can achieve full liberation and return to the Pleroma. Now this threefold division explains why spiritual teaching works differently on different people. Hylics can't grasp it, they literally lack the equipment. Psychics understand it morally or philosophically but not experientially, while pneumatics recognize it immediately because it describes what they've always sensed but could never articulate. And if you're wondering where I got this information from, these are the Sethian texts. The Apocryphon of John is the foundational Sethian scripture, found in multiple versions at Nag Hammadi. It describes the entire cosmology, from the unknowable Father all the way through Barbelo's emanation, Sophia's fall, even the Demiurge's creation of the material world, and the plan for liberating the divine sparks that were trapped in matter. The Gospel of the Egyptians details the Sethian understanding of baptism and the 5 seals, or stages of initiation. They're there in order to awake the pneumatic to full consciousness of their divine nature. Each seal represents a level of gnosis, progressively stripping away any material identification. The 3 Stelaes of Seth is a hymn of ascent, describing the soul's journey back through the eons all the way to ultimate union with Barbelo Barbello and the Father. It's both theological teaching and practical meditation guide for consciousness ascending all the way beyond material limitation. Zostrianos describes an 8-day visionary journey through the heavenly realms, revealing the structure of reality layer by layer. The text teaches that what you perceive as solid world is actually the lowest and densest of a multi-dimensional cosmos extending upward through increasingly subtle planes. These texts weren't scripture in the sense of moral instruction. They were maps, showing pneumatics the structure of the trap they're in, the path to escape, and the truth of their divine origin that the Demiurge desperately wants them to forget. Now hold on to your hats because this next section of Sabotage is insane. Sethian Gnosticism teaches that pneumatics aren't here by accident or by punishment. You're here on purpose. Barbello sent fragments of herself into the Demiurge's creation specifically to liberate other trapped sparks and ultimately collapse the material system from within. Every pneumatic who achieves Gnosis and escapes weakens the Demiurge's power. You're not just saving yourself, you're damaging the matrix that traps others too. The Archons want you ignorant because your awakening threatens their entire operation. This is why the world seems designed to keep you distracted, identified with the body, and obsessed with material concerns. It is designed that way. The Demiurge knows that pneumatics who remember their divine nature become agents of his system's destruction. Your sabotage mission is achieving Gnosis despite everything working to prevent it. Every moment of recognizing your divine consciousness temporarily in flesh, every instance of seeing through material illusion, and every act of choosing spirit over matter actively undermines this false creation. And to bring it all together, this is why Sethian Gnosticism is so important. Sethian Gnosticism offers radically different framework than mainstream Christianity. According to Sethian Gnosticism, you're not a sinner needing salvation through faith, your divine consciousness needing awakening through Gnosis. The problem isn't a moral failure, but ontological amnesia. Now, it explains the sense that many people have of not belonging here, of feeling fundamentally different from others, and of knowing that there's something more real than this world. That's not psychological disorder. That's the divine spark recognizing that it doesn't originate from material creation at all. Now, the teaching is simultaneously elitist and liberating. Elitist because it divides humanity into those who can awaken and those who can't. Liberating because it says if you're even capable of grasping this teaching, you're pneumatic. You carry Barbello's spark, and your destiny is to return to the pleroma, regardless of what you've done or failed to do in material existence. Now, Sethian texts were buried, banned, and burned for 1700 years until Nag Hammadi revealed them again in 1945. The Archons, or their human servants, didn't want this knowledge available because it teaches pneumatics how to recognize the trap, remember their origin, and execute the sabotage mission they incarnated to perform. Now, if you resonate with this teaching, Sethians would say that's not random. That's Barbello's spark in you recognizing the map home, remembering the mission, and preparing for the awakening that will free you from the Demiurge's prison and return you to the realm of light where you've always belonged. Now, if you want more Sethian Gnosticism and radical Christian esotericism, make sure to like the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below and follow for more deep dives, guys. Until next time.